What's up, good people? I'm gonna come to y'all today, just give y'all a little something on the Willie Lynch letter. I just got through reading it in its entirety, and it's crazy because we're still today, especially Black people. I would say all people, in general. This today, I think it includes white people because they use the same systems that we use, especially those without money and wealth and stuff like that. But I mean, the purpose of the Willie Lynch letter was to make the female independent and have her children be dependent on her, and that child could move forward and not be dependent upon a father. And as we look around today, we see with the quickness these females are willing to throw us on child support or willing to, go ahead on and raise the kids without the father because of the many things that are set up in place for them, like the welfare system. I mean, the welfare system is totally part of the whole Willie Lynch syndrome for the simple fact that it leads the female to independence. Even though it's not complete independence on her own, she's using a government system in which you might as well say that Willie Lynch was part of the government system back then in order to keep slaves in their place. And I have the letter pulled up, and I'm gonna read some lines from it. And I'm definitely gonna read the beginning because just to show a point of the things that I've been saying. Okay, so the Willie Lynch letter is from December the 25th. Funny, 1712. And so it states, I greet you here on the bank of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712, 1712. First, I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve some of your problems with the slaves. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods for control of slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. Now, before I go further with the next line that I'm gonna read, the reason why I believe he said ancient Rome would envy them is because ancient when they came in and conquered, you got to remember the people were rebellious. They fought back, and so slavery wasn't just all of that good. I mean, it didn't go as smooth for them, and that's where you have your Old Testament God at, in which uh, God fought for the people. God fought with the people. God was a warrior God. He was a warrior God, and so therefore the people, they didn't take their enslavement too kindly. They fought back, and so now the next line: as our boat sailed south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know that your problem is not unique. So the King James version of the Bible is cherished by them for the simple fact that now here you go, having a Bible rewritten based on the past things that have happened. This is by no mean, I'm sorry, any words of God. All it is a history of things that did happen. They saw that the people were willing to fight back and things like that. And like I said, that's where you have your Old Testament. But with your New Testament, all of a sudden everything is obey, turn the other cheek, give what's owed to that person. Be nice to your masters, no matter how bad your masters treat you. And so, therefore, now you have a Bible that they cherish because it condones the slavery. It was written to try and control those slaves back then from Rome after they came in and conquered. The Bible is written as a history. Everything that happened that they wrote about, is nothing real about it. It's all metaphorically speaking or whatever. It happened, then they wrote about it, and more stuff happened, and then they wrote about it. And that's why, like I keep telling people, this is not one book in its entirety. These are books pieced together in which they took the people. I mean, maybe the first, the Old Testament, it was still, the Old Testament is still part of their history that was written about or whatever, where they were going in conquering the people. They was just, the people was fighting back, and so, and pretty much probably based on their spirituality, they were fighting back and the things that they believed in, and not trying to give up their freedom so easily. And maybe the Romans didn't understand their spirituality. They thought this was a real God to them and things like that. But they broke them from that real God and gave them Jesus. And for anybody who want to believe Jesus is real, something, I mean, like, no offense, but something is still wrong with you to this day. Like they say, you have the internet, you got YouTube, especially. I mean, like, where it's conflicting things, where people, I mean, stop. People are going back in history, in the times, pulling up evidence that none of this stuff actually happened, and most of it is coming up with these people being given Jesus, so they'll stop fighting back. But I mean, what's the use of fighting back when we got the Willie Lynch letter? With Willie Lynch, it pretty much divided in its entirety the black community, and we have not recovered, and it's a possibility that we never will recover from Willie Lynch, for the simple fact that now our females do want to be just straight up independent, and I mean, they can care less. They can care less about having a man. A man, pretty much, when women got rights, it is. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad women got rights, and I don't feel like no woman should set up at the house and hoping the dude gonna take care of her. But with those rights came everything that a man has, so therefore she don't need a man. She don't have to be, at home like grandma was. Pretty much ironing clothes, taking care of the kids, yeah, as they say, barefoot and naked in the kitchen, things like that. That no longer applies to the woman, because in a lot of cases, women are the bread makers. Women make most than men. In most of the cases, especially in the black community, man, a man get laid off his job, it might take him forever to find one, but women, they drop jobs, and next thing you know, they working again. I don't know if there's just their will and determination, or if it's actually set up like that. I mean, when you look at it, it's all crazy. I mean, like, we can blame the system as much as we want, but in a lot of ways, we have to get up and go out and get it. And I mean, I know for a fact, I mean, it's better with both parents in the household. The child does not have to struggle as hard, and unless let me put this in another way. I mean, with two willing and striving parents, man, you can't have a doughboy and a hood chick in the same house. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is, because I mean, she gonna halfway take care of your goddamn kids, and then you always out in the streets. And then the one thing there is not any is there's still no structure in that house, for the simple fact that those mothers, call their sons their little niggas and stuff like that, and they are raising their sons to be men that they wouldn't even date. Later on in life, when they get it together, they look at their own child and be like, "Man, he a mess." But it's part of you. You created that mess because what you had going on then. And I'm sorry. I mean, like in some cases, this do work. I'm not saying all, but like when you got two willing and striving parents, 9 times out of 10, the child grows up to strive, or be better off because he had good direction. But I mean, trust me, I done seen it where you got two no good ass parents in the house, and they sitting up laughing and smoking and shit around their kids. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with you doing the privacy of your own home, but then too, there has to be some kind of guideline that you go about, man. That you sitting out there, your motherfucking ass, you didn't graduate. And this nigga that he didn't graduate, man, do you want your child to be on that same level? You gotta come up out of that. You gotta come up out of that, man. Give your child a chance to succeed. Don't just because your ass was dumb and didn't make it, don't mean your child have to be the same way. But a lot of y'all raise your children to be the same way instead of finding out what's going on with your child and things like that. You want to run to the school and fight the goddamn teacher because you don't know the math that's on the paper either, and the reason why your child got a bad grade is because you couldn't help them, but you want to blame the teacher. But okay, back to what I'm talking about. I mean, that's still part. I mean, to me, that is part of the whole Willie Lynch syndrome. Where you sit up and you lazy. I mean, because it's different parts of it. It's different parts. And so let me skip down to hold on. I mean, like this letter is harsh. So this is what he said. He said, "Keep the body, take the mind. In other words, break the will to resist." Now the breaking process is the same for both the horse and the nigga, only slightly varying in degrees. I mean, come on, I mean, pretty much compare them to the animals and things like that. I mean, to the horse. And the same way, they was trying to get a wild horse to calm down. That's the same thing that they was doing to the black man, whipping him and different things like that. And it's crazy for the simple fact that it took him away from being able to be a father and made him put him out here in the field to give him to put him to work and break and took him away from his family. But this is the part that I mean, this is crazy. Take the meanest and most restless nigga, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male niggas, the female and the nigga infant, tar and feather him, tie each leg to a different horse faced in opposite directions, set him afire, and beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the remaining nigga. The next step is to take a bullwhip and beat the remaining nigga male to the point of death in front of the female and the infant. Don't kill him, but put the fear of God in him, for he can be useful for future breeding, for future breeding. And come on, man, now that was harsh. This is the things that they're doing. They're taking the male and they're, pretty much diminishing his role in front of the female, showing that he has no power. That he has no power. They're breaking him to the point where all he can do is cry to the female. I mean, it ain't like he can actually move or nothing like that because he's been beat damn near unconscious and things like that. Now, As far as the woman, and this holds true to the day. I mean, if you read the Willie Lynch letter, take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. The woman, trust me, and they say, all right. Hi, we have reversed the relationship in her natural uncivilized state. She would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized male offspring to be dependent like her, meaning she's gonna take her child. I mean, they already took the dude and pretty much took him out of the family. Now, once they break her, she is teaching like our whole generational thing. We know it comes down from the grandmother and stuff like that. Even though they say the male is the head of the household, most of us get our spirituality, our religion, or whatever from our grandmother, passed down through our mothers and stuff like that. Man, very seldomly do we get any of this stuff from the father, and so therefore it's making us dependent more on the woman in our household than it is the man. And so after they didn't pretty much took the man out of the household, now she's teaching the younger boy to conform, pretty much conform and do what he's told. So now you no longer have that strong male figure in the house. That mother is the strong figure in the house, and that little boy, in order to survive, and his mama gonna make sure that he's gonna do what he's told to do. And then let me get down here to the point where they actually they took us from being a strong black culture and they mixed us with their culture a little bit at a time, and not really with their culture, with their seed. They say crossbreeding niggers, when taking so many drops of good white blood and putting them into as many nigger women as possible, varying the drops by the various tone that you want, and then letting them breed with each other until another cycle of color appears as you desire. Meaning, slave masters, they were sleeping, we already know that, sleeping with them, raping the women, creating half-breed babies. Then they'll take those half-breed babies and let them breed. Take some more half-breed babies and let them breed, and to the point where you do got Steph Curry and light skinned nah. But I mean, that's what happened. And then finally, the last paragraph in this is control the language. So pretty much they took our natural tongue and gave us theirs, and then they only gave us so much to the point where we were still illiterate, knew how to converse just a little bit to get to the point of getting stuff done that they wanted done. But he told them, don't give them enough pretty much education so they can talk with you in your house. You don't want that. So pretty much you want them to be dumb. So all they doing is being able to communicate what you're wanting, which you wasn't going to further educate them. And I mean, if you really look at it, man, we still holding this thing over our own head. Like I said, with our kids in education, man, we not allowing them to be educated because we so mad at each other, man and woman in the house, upset with each other, fighting with each other, send the child to school, go fight on the teachers and things like that. I mean, and again, with the systems that they have in place now, there's like I said, this includes white folk because there's a lot of white folk that's on welfare. Now, it go all the way back now from, being about slavery to now about the riches, the wealth and things like that. The wealth margin between us and the one percenters is in comparison to one of the one percenters together having more money than most of all us put together. And that's terrible, but this is the society that we live in, man. We're following their doctrine. Yes, again, back to the Bible. The Bible is their doctrine. I mean, if you really read it, like I said, it's good moral stuff in there, but that moral stuff was created to make you behave, so that you don't fight back, so that you don't want what they have. You get yours in the afterlife. You don't want that right now. You can wait till you get to heaven to have a good life. That's why you don't need money. And you know, the man with the money, it's gonna be hard for him to get into heaven. I mean, he don't even give a damn about heaven because he's living right now in heaven on earth, and therefore, you know, he keeping you with this old dumb mentality that you don't need money. I mean, like, and that's the dumbest thing ever, because I was watching a video earlier and the guy said, he said, you need money. How can you do a good deed without money? I mean, you very seldomly see the homeless doing good deeds, that because they usually out begging from everybody else. And then with us, I mean, you keep making the church rich. You can't really, I mean, just think about this. You can't expect your business to grow when you're sowing a seed in somebody else's business. In the churches, you constantly sowing a seed in theirs, but you're not sowing a seed back into your own self, into your community, into your family, things like that. You give it to them, and they just imagine, you know, especially these mega churches, thousands of people sowing seeds into this, but that's not coming back to everybody at all. You're sowing a seed where the seed don't need to be sowed. You need to sow the seed within yourself. Sow the seed within yourself. Put your trust in yourself. Bring out your inner God. Know that, you know, whatever it is that you're wanting to do, if you look deep within, if you pull yourself up, you can do it. And then surround yourself with people who, you know, if you are in need, they are willing to help you, and you are willing to do the same for them. Put yourself around people who are not going down the wrong path, but, you know, pretty much have a similar path that you're walking now. I mean, then you'll see that okay, it is all about me. I mean, but as long as you take yourself back down those same old memory lanes, the same thing is gonna happen to you, man. I mean, born and raised in South Dallas, and not saying that, you know, there's nothing good in South Dallas now, but you got to get away from South Dallas to actually have something. You got to get away from it. I mean, like, there's no big business, nothing major in South Dallas. You have to get away from South Dallas to make it. I mean, maybe you can, you know, find something to, you know, cater to the area and stuff like that. But you really have to think about it. You know, catering to the area. You know, how are you going to support the area when it's pretty much drug, liquor, and different things like that infested? I mean. And so you have to come away from where you were and find people going in that same direction, man, because if you don't, you you will be, you know, right along with everybody else up under the whole Willie Lynch effect, you know, where, you know, you're going to stay broken and be broken and around people that are broken, and a bunch of broken pieces together. You can't even put them together at all. I mean, because the shadows start getting too small for you to even put everything back together. This is all y'all hanging together, man. I mean, so I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of the whole Willie Lynch letter, man, to let y'all know. I mean, first of all, the King James Bible, it was written to support what was going on. The slavery and everything like that, they created themselves as gods. There's all this stuff that you've been reading, good, like I said, good moral fiber, but the moral fiber was for obedience. It was for control. Now, get back. I mean, I just say run as far away from the Bible as you can. Definitely these churches. I mean, especially the mega churches and stuff like that. Now, if you got a good group of people who want to come together, and I mean, even still with it, man. I mean, like you can't really have a personal relationship when you go and following a doctrine. Just plain and simple. There's no personal relationship for a doctrine, and I mean. It's just plain and simple. That's what it is. So I mean, I say, come on, good people, pick up some faith in yourself. Man, run away from these doctrines as fast as you can, and I mean, take the good from it. Being that, like I said, today you don't have to be up under that as far as with slavery and things like that. But like I posed the question, with slavery being condoned in the Bible, if you had to go back into slavery, would you still be a Christian and follow those laws that it didn't lay down? Telling you, except getting your ass beat and stuff like that, as long as he don't kill you, you still treat him right. Yeah, okay. Let's see how long your Christianity lasts. Let's see how long your Christianity lasts, man. I mean, get back. I mean, get back to your spirituality. Being one with yourself, with your family. The things around you. I mean, learning how to cope with all of that kind of stuff, and then you'll see, as I see that, like, man, I didn't need none of that. I don't need none of that. I don't need no God, no Jesus, no Buddha, no Allah, none of that kind of stuff, because I've been pulling everything out of myself, and then I have good people around me, and I'm cool with that. I mean, for the people who don't want to be around me and have whatever problem that they do have with me because of what I believe in, it's not meant for them to be around me, because they gonna bring me down or whatever. I mean, like, I don't have a problem being around people who Christians. I mean, I love my brothers sisters the same. They up under their religion. I just choose not to be, and I don't choose to look at them no difference. I just think, like, they should get back in that book and read it some more. Get into history, the history of it, and see. Okay, this is. I mean, it got good moral value, but it's not real. It's not real at all. I mean, like, ain't no sky finna crack open. Ain't nobody finna save you from the problems that you in. You gonna save yourself with your consciousness. I mean, your consciousness is gonna send you one way or the other. Either you gonna do right, or you gonna do wrong. But it's gonna be all on you. Nobody else to blame. But like I said, if you get a chance, go and read the Willie Lynch letter in its entirety. Look around you and see that, yeah, us melanated people, we still in the same boat, man. Some of us, then barely made it out. What we doing okay for ourselves and stuff like that. And I mean, getting, get to know yourself a little better. Can you bring out the best in you? I mean, you don't need nobody to do that. You don't need imaginary friend to do that's something that's up here with you, something up there that you can get into. So, like I said, have a good one, good people. Do a little bit more research.